Okay, part 2. So now we've done the basics and we have a better vocabulary, and I want to talk about inheriting characteristics. Okay? And we're going to introduce genetic crosses. So I want us to imagine a situation so far. We'll carry on with the theme we had before. If we take a male, and this symbol represents male, if we take a male with this genetic makeup and we cross, as in there is sexual reproduction, with a female of this genetic makeup, now I'm going to use a word here, I'm going to call this genotype. If you don't like that, just leave it, but of this genotype, or has these genes, you'll be asked to predict the outcome. In other words, what their offspring will look like. Okay, so first of all we want to make ourselves aware that because, as we've said before, big B is the dominant allele and codes for blonde-haired individuals, this male will have blonde hair. I forgot to talk about this symbol, that's a symbol for a female. Whilst this female, with the little b's, will have brown hair. Now, in sexual reproduction, gametes will be formed through meiosis, and the potential gametes that come from this male will be, I'm going to try and draw a sperm, big B or big B. Now I'm trying to show you that there are two choices, two possible gametes. They are the same, but let's just keep it like that because that keeps things simple. By the same token, the female will produce eggs and they will contain the little b brown-haired allele. Alright? And then fertilisation will take place where a sperm will meet an egg and will produce offspring. There are two ways of showing the potential combinations. I'm going to do it the first way. The sperm that carries the big B allele could join with the egg that carries the little b allele, and we would produce an offspring with a genotype, or genes, of big B, little b. And this will look like, phenotype is another word for that, how the genes express themselves. So this will look like an individual with blonde hair. Why? Because the big B is dominant and therefore expresses itself over the little b. But there are other possible combinations. Because this sperm could actually join with this egg. But we'll get the same result. Or this sperm could join with that egg. Or this sperm with that egg. So there are all these possibilities, but they give the same result. And the chances of these two individuals producing a blonde-haired offspring are 100%. But I want to take that further. So far, I've only talked about homozygous individuals. Now that's a more complex word, right? But basically it means that both the alleles that are carried are the same, i.e. big B, big B. Or in the other case that was before, little b, little b. Go back and have a look and make sure you see what I mean. Now I want to introduce a potential cross between two heterozygous individuals. That's a heterozygous individual. It has different alleles, not the same. Again, we will call this the male and this the female. And I hope you can now see, or begin to see, that we're going to have different gametes now. Because there is the potential for one of the sperm that this male will produce through meiosis to be big B or little b. So there are potentially two different types of gametes. By the same token, the female could produce eggs with, again, two different types of gametes. And we want to come up or work out the probabilities of what their offspring will look like, phenotype. I'm going to show you another way of doing this, so we've covered both angles. Often a more preferred method of demonstrating these gametes coming together is using a thing called a Punnett square. That's spelling, however. And now we put the potential gametes of each individual onto two sides of our square. So I'm going to put the male gametes on here, big B, little b, and the female gametes down the side, again, big B, little b. And this allows us a lovely way of showing all the possible combinations of gametes coming together. For example, this big B could join with this big B from the male, giving us one potential genotype for the offspring. Or this gamete could join with this gamete, giving us a different combination of alleles. Please be aware, I'm trying to show you that this has come from there, but we don't show it that way around in biology. We always go for the dominant allele first. Now we've talked about genotypes, we need to look at the phenotypes, what they will look like. Blonde. 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 And brown. And this is a classic monohybrid genetic cross where the ratio is a 3-to-1 ratio, or 25% if we're talking about the probability of having a brown haired child, offspring. Hope you understand.